Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in today. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I'm coming to you live from Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. Here to bring you some high school girls soccer action between the hosting Natick High Redhawks over here on the left in the red jerseys with white jersey numbers, and the visiting Warriors of Brookline High School, seen here in the white jerseys. A matchup of two undefeated teams, this one is. Brookline coming in with an impressive 6-0 record to start the season so far, while Natick comes in with a not too shabby record of their own, 2-0-2 the Redhawks are so far this season. With that in mind, let's take a look at the rosters for these two squads, and we'll start with the home team, the Natick High Redhawks. First off, a junior goalkeeper, number 0, Cricket Lemon. A senior goalkeeper and co-captain, number 1, Allison Jeter. A freshman forward, number 2, Megan Mella. A sophomore forward, number 4, Maya Schwab. A junior forward, number 5, Emma Grant. A freshman midi, number 6, Stella Bogus. A sophomore forward, number 7, Angie Levy. A junior midi, number 8, Emma Tavilla. A junior forward, number 9, Zoe Graves. A senior defender, number 10, co-captain, Kira Hacker. A senior forward, number 11, Michaela Henderson. A junior midi, number 12, Caroline Holanda. A sophomore midi, number 13, Sahej Gulati. A junior defender, number 14, Maggie Lagan. A freshman midi, number 15, Allegra Gagnon. A senior midi and co-captain, number 16, Briar Grady. A senior defender, number 17, Abby Beagle. A junior forward, number 18, Eliza Campana. A senior defender, number 19, Keo White. A freshman defender, number 20, Cassidy Moriarty. A freshman defender, number 21, Kira Henderson. A freshman defender, number 22, Kendall Hacker. A sophomore defender, number 24, Caitlin LeBrun. And a freshman midi, number 25, Olivia Penn. Head coach of the Natick girls soccer team is Dave Wainwright, with assistant coach Kayla Steves. So that is your roster for the home team, the Natick High Redhawks. And in the meantime, let's turn our attention over to the undefeated visitors, the Brookline Warriors. Again, going in numerical order, we start with a freshman forward, number 1, Vilena Chernichev. Next, a senior midi and co-captain, number 3, Hope Leshley. A senior midi and co-captain, number 4, Zoe Fagnan. A senior midi, number 5, Ansley Washburn. A junior defender, number 6, Sarah Gonzalez. A senior defender and co-captain, number 7, Mila Seifert. A junior midi, number 8, Sari Frankel. A junior midi, number 9, Hannah Whited. A sophomore forward, number 10, Amara Ukamandu. A junior defender, number 11, Madeline Moore. A junior defender, number 12, Celia Marinus. A junior midi, number 13, Gianna Pentland. A senior defender, number 14, Kellen McNamara. A junior midi, number 15, Cecilia Wager. A senior forward, number 16, Kendall Freeze. A senior defender, number 17, Nilufar Dadgar. A freshman midi, number 18, Anna Leshley. A freshman midi, number 19, Sydney Freeze. A senior midi, number 20, Liv Ernst. A junior goalkeeper, number 21, Phoebe Shea. A junior midi, number 22, Eleanor Bergstein. A senior goalkeeper and co-captain, number 23, Juliana Anastopoulos. A junior goalkeeper, number 24, Talia Thompson. And finally, a junior forward, number 27, Alex Levy. Head coach of the Brookline girls soccer team is Rob Sprague, with assistant coaches Ben Peters, Andrew Sell, and James Moradian. So there are your rosters for the two teams competing today. Like I said, Natick comes into this one with a record of 2-0-2, 2 wins, 2 ties, no losses, while Brookline is a perfect 6-0-0. And it's been very eerily similar results for the Warriors so far. Every single game, a 1-0 victory. So the defense has been doing very well, led by their goalkeeping platoon of Anastopoulos and Thompson. Anastopoulos has started 4 of the team's 6 games, produced a shutout every time, while the backup Thompson has come in for 2 games and gotten 2 shutouts of her own. Anastopoulos is set to start in net for the Warriors today, while for Natick, their senior co-captain keeper, Allison Jeter, is projected to start in net for them. We're about ready to get this one underway. The team's getting into their last huddles. And this should be a good one. Once again, my name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I'm happy to give you live coverage of this high school girls soccer contest between these two undefeated foes, the 6-0-0 Brookline Warriors and the 2-0-2 Natick Redhawks. For Brookline, the story of this season has been a huge improvement in offense so far. Yes, they've only scored 1 goal in each game, but again, they've scored 1 goal in each game. That is consistency, and that is exactly what you need, especially when you've got the strong defense that Brookline has. They had a solid defensive foundation last year. They just struggled scoring consistently. And this year, it's been the underclassmen leading the way offensively. The sophomore forward, Amara Ukamandu, with 2 goals and 2 assists, both tied for the team lead so far. And then freshman midi Anna Leshley has scored 2 goals of her own. So 4 of the team's 6 goals scored by underclassmen. They've been a big boost to the offense. No question about that. And we'll see who, if anyone, will be the goal scorer for either team, really, in this one. The Warriors huddling up in the white jerseys with sort of dark blue outlining jersey numbers. While for the Redhawks, they've got the red jerseys with the white jersey numbers. Thank you.
I wasn't listening to what you said, but those are the 2 that everybody usually says wrong. Yeah, it's like your Mila.
Yeah. We've got an early correction on my pronunciation of names on the Natick side, thanks to a very helpful press box worker next to me. Number 2, I mispronounced as Megan Mella. It's Megan Mila. And then number 17, I pronounced as Abby Beagle. It's Abby Beigel. Abby Beigel is how you pronounce number 17. If there's anyone watching Brookline side or Natick side and you hear me mispronouncing any names, please, I encourage you to correct me in the live chat just so I can give these young ladies the best coverage I possibly can. The team's now taking the field. Brookline on the right, Natick on the left. Like I said, in net, it's going to be a matchup of senior co-captains. Juliana Anastopoulos will be between the pipes for Brookline, while for Natick, it will be number 1, Allison Jeter. Looks like Natick will be having the opening possession. And their number 9, Zoe Graves, in the center, getting ready to pass things off. "40 minutes on the clock for this first half, and we're about to get this one underway here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. We await the opening whistle. Graves will be kicking it back to her teammates to start things off for Natick. They've loaded up the right side of the wings, and we are underway. Pass back and kicked down the right side where they had loaded up the wings. Number 18 chasing after it and kicked out of bounds by Brookline's number 11, Maddie Moore. Pass was intended for Eliza Campana, number 18, as they had loaded about 3 players up on that right side, almost like a trips formation in football. The throw in for Natick going right for the net, and it's a game of catch going straight to the goalie, Juliana Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots a line drive, goes off the foot of a Natick player, and then downed by one of Brookline's middies, kicked into space, but kicked right back by Natick, and now they've got control. This is number 16, Briar Grady, who passed it over to number 11, Michaela Henderson. Henderson, centering pass, finds number 20, Cassidy Moriarty, passing along the left, and Natick taking their time, looking for the best possible opening. Kicked into space, but right at a Brookline player, but almost stolen away, and finally kicked away, and it goes to the midfielder, Sari Frankel. Passes over to the far side, and now a retreating pass back to the defensive line. Pass over to the center back, and then forward, and then a miscommunication there on the pass intended for Maddie Moore. Moore had started going forward, and her teammate thought that she was going to remain in place. This will be a throw-in for Henderson. She sends it towards the box, goes off ahead, but bounces harmlessly into the hands of Anastopoulos. Another line drive from Anastopoulos goes to Gianna Pentland, but I think they're going to say it went off her arm, so that's going to be a handball and give it right back to Natick. Natick getting ready for the free kick coming from one of their backs. Another line drive right off the head of a Brookline player, and it goes over to the foot of Amara Ukamandu, and she couldn't quite keep it in bounds, and so that is going to be a throw-in for Natick. Throw-in is scrummed for, and the loose ball is picked up by Natick, but then an errant pass is kicked away by Brookline. It goes back to number 20, Moriarty, who sends a retreating pass, and then passed back to Moriarty, being pursued by Pentland. She has to pass it down to the back line. Kicked ahead by number 10, Kira Hacker. Now a pass back to Moriarty. Moriarty being pursued by Frankel, passes over to the far side. Passed ahead. Brookline defender comes swiftly and picks her pocket. That is number 4, Zoe Fagnan, with a great steal there. Pass along the sideline is ultimately lost out of bounds. Could not be controlled there. That pass, I believe, was going for number 20, Liv Ernst. Throw in, a deflection, kept in bounds, and sent over to number 16, Grady, back to Hacker, and then over to the far side where it's kicked into space, goes awkwardly off the head of Moore, and then recovered by Natick. A through pass sent to Graves, number 9, who then sends it along the far side, and out of bounds, they're going to say off Natick. There was a bit of confusion there for a second, but it's ultimately thrown in, aimed at Ukamandu. Ukamandu works her way around a defender, starting to dribble. Not a lot of room along that sideline. Almost gets through several defenders, but not quite. The loose ball is chased down nicely by Frankel. Frankel sends a pass ahead, but a little too far ahead, and that's going to roll into the arms of Jeter. Sari Frankel was aiming that leading pass for Amara Ukamandu, but just a little too far ahead. Jeter boots it into the air towards midfield, goes off the head, off another head, twice off the head of Moore, kicked up into the air and kicked out of bounds by Moore. That was number 11 against number 11, Maddie Moore against Michaela Henderson. Ultimately out off Brookline. The throw-in is instantly deflected out of bounds by Moore once again. Maddie Moore is being kept busy early in this one as Natick attacking a lot from that right-hand side. It'll be another throw-in for Henderson. She sends it towards the middle, cut off and deflected by Frankel, but into the air, being chased by Grady. She's trying to force it through. Ultimately, too many defenders, and it's kicked away by the center back. Deflected into the air, goes off the head of Pentland, off a foot, off the head of Pentland again, and ultimately chased down by number 2 and then kicked away into open space. couple passes for Natick and finally booted down the left side by Moriarty. Throw in for Brookline. They boot it into the air, aiming for Ukamandu, but she couldn't quite reach it. Downed by Hacker. Pass back and forth with number 17, Abby Beigel. Now passed back to Allison Jeter. Jeter sends a pass aiming for number 19, Keo White. White ultimately passes it back to Grady. Grady sends it across, aiming for, I believe that's Hacker, who passes ahead, deflected and kept in bounds, but ultimately chased down by Zoe Fagnan. Fagnan turns around and kicks it away, but kicks it out of bounds. So just giving the Brookline defense a chance to get properly set as Natick goes on the attack again. Inbound goes off the head and then kicked back by Natick, but off the deflection, it's taken by Brookline. Kicked into space, cut off by White, but then that's deflected into space and taken by Moore. Maddie Moore trying to dribble her way through, runs into Henderson, has to kick it over the head of Hacker. Now a scrum around the net, chance for Ukamandu, and she flies over Jeter. Close play there. That might have been our closest chance at a goal so far today. Big chance for Amara Ukamandu, but just not enough space for her to get a foot on that. The punt is deflected a couple of times. Now Brookline trying to work with it, but it's lost. More kicks around the middle. Both teams struggling to transition. Looks like Natick's going to work their way through. Briar Grady fights her way through several defenders and gets into some space. Passes along the far side, finds a teammate, kicked, and easily saved on the dive by Juliana Anastopoulos. Punted long and deep. Off the bounce, being chased by Hacker. Off her head, it's downed by Ukamandu. Ukamandu trying to keep it in bounds and couldn't do it. Now a throw in for Beigel. Downed by one of the Natick players, passing around. A bit of contention here off the foot of Gianna Pentland, but ultimately Natick gets it out. Kicked back in by Brookline and then lost out of bounds on the corner. Nice effort by Brookline's number 5, Ansley Washburn. Ultimately, it is a throw-in for Natick, and we got an interference penalty on that header. A little too physical from Maddie Moore against Natick's number 5, Emma Grant. It's going to be a free kick for Natick near the sideline. Kira Hacker is doing the free kick. Into the air, off the head of a Brookline player, and then deflected into space, but ultimately tracked down by the Natick defense. Passed ahead to Henderson, back to Hacker, into the air, off the head of Moore, and out of bounds. Again, Natick trying to work that right side. Throw in from Henderson, goes down the right side, booted into the air by Mila Seifert, downed for a second by Pentland, but then taken away by White. Passed into space for Moriarty. Moriarty aims along the far side, but misses Megan Mila, and it goes out of bounds. Just over 31 minutes still left here in the first half. We are scoreless, still kind of in the feeling each other out phase of this ball game. Throw in goes to Frankel. Brookline tries to maintain control, but can't do it as now Natick working with it. The pass goes to Briar Grady. Grady dribbling with it, trying to transition. She runs into Cecilia Wager, manages to keep control of the ball, though. Through pass, finds Emma Grant, but then no give and go there. A bit of miscommunication and lost out of bounds. Briar Grady, the senior midi and co-captain for the Redhawks, showing her abilities in the transition game. She's been weaving her way through so well early on. And now it's Grady with the ball, trying to work in the corner. She manages to get her foot around and kick it, but goes right to the center back, Cecilia Wager. Off the head and tracked down by Moriarty. Moriarty boots it into the air towards Henderson, who heads it. They're still scrumming for it along that right sideline. Lost out of bounds, and they're going to say off Brookline. Henderson throws it in towards the center. Taken for a second and then passed back to Graves. And then a bit of miscommunication between Graves and Henderson, and the ball is lost out of bounds. It'll be Brookline ball. The throw-in goes for Seifert and off her head and out of bounds. That's a quick turnover for Brookline, and now Henderson throws it in. Aiming towards the box, off the head of Grady, towards the far side, tracked down by number 20, Liv Ernst. We're about 10.5 minutes into this ball game, still scoreless. Brookline 0, Natick 0. The throw in towards the box, deflected off ahead, being tracked down by Wager. Dangerous chance, but ultimately lost out of the box by Natick. They couldn't get a good foot on it. And now after a deflection off the head of White, it's kicked into the air by Hacker and away from Ukamandu. And that was Beigel who kicked it into space, ultimately tracked down by Brookline. Pass to Washburn, pass ahead for Pentland. Pentland tries a centering kick for Frankel, but it's deflected away. Now this is number 2, Megan Mila with the ball. Has it stripped away. Pass back to White. And a couple of passes for Natick. Now dribbling with the ball along the near side is Grady. A bit of a give and go with number 18, but the pass is cut off and kicked away. Brookline now taking control of it for a second. It goes to Pentland. Pentland, the centering kick, now booted off the head of White and tracked down by Mila. Mila being double teamed, but manages to keep control and do a centering pass to Moriarty. Pass ahead to Grady. Grady sends a through pass, looking for number 18. This is a big chance for Natick here, but can't get off a strong kick. Easily stopped by Anastopoulos. Big chance for Eliza Campana on that one off a nice through pass by Briar Grady. And this punt bounces awkwardly. Ukamandu's trying to chase after it. Big chance for Ukamandu now. Trying to fight her way around and runs out of room going up against Kira Hacker. Good defense on the last line by number 10, Kira Hacker, against Brookline's biggest scoring threat, Amara Ukamandu. Like I said, 2 goals and 2 assists so far this season for the sophomore forward. She's been a big spark for the Brookline offense this season, and already you can see why. Jeter boots it into space, bounces past several people. Henderson was trying to chase it down. I think it bounced awkwardly off the body of Zoe Fagnan. She tried to dodge it, but at the last second it went out off of her. Henderson, the throw-in, aiming for, I believe that was Graves, but ultimately taken by Wager, kicked into the air, and ultimately taken by Michaela Henderson, trying to battle through several Brookline players. Somehow they kept possession for a second, but then deflected to Washburn. Now some more deflections, and it's taken away by Natick. Grady's got it again. A retreating pass all the way back to Jeter. Jeter sends a pass down to White. White, a centering pass for Grady. Back to Jeter. Pass, I believe, to Hacker. Now over to Grady. Gianna Pentland swoops in, takes the ball, shoots, and misses wide. Gianna Pentland showing some hustle early in this contest. Brookline's forwards very aggressive with, I'm not sure what it would be called in soccer, but it would be called the forecheck in hockey. Just aggressively pursuing the ball, even when the opponent is just trying to get things set up. Just over 26 minutes left here in the first half. Still scoreless in this matchup of undefeated foes, the 6-0-0 Brookline Warriors and the 2-0-2 Natick Redhawks. The goal kick from Jeter deflects off of Pentland, booted into the air, and now it's Graves who tracks it down for Natick. Deflected out of bounds. It was being contested by Mila Seifert. We got a substitution for Brookline. Coming in will be numbers 3, 6, and 22. That is Hope Leshley, Sarah Gonzalez, and Eleanor Bergstein. Throw-in is for Brookline. Deflected by Frankel, picked up by Ukamandu. Ukamandu trying to dribble with it. Running out of space, has to pass it along the far side. Passed back. Kicked across over for Moore. Moore loses it, and it's kicked into the air by Henderson. Bounces over 2 players, but ultimately taken away by Briar Grady. All the 50-50 balls she's winning. Finally runs into a swarm of defenders, but a teammate swoops in and kicks it into space. But ultimately nobody there. It is chased down easily by Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos rolls it over to one of her defenders. I believe that's Fagnan, who passes it along the far side. Another pass for, I believe, Gonzalez. Or no, my mistake, Hope Leshley. Then back to Wager. Along the far side, deflected again, taken by Sari Frankel. Frankel kicks it down the far sideline, deflected by Hacker, and Hacker ultimately kicks it out of bounds. Brookline takes control of the ball. The throw-in goes to Frankel, tapped back, passed ahead down the far side, but nobody there, and ultimately boxed out well by Beigel. Ukamandu was trying to press the issue, but Beigel, with some good fundamentals there, preventing her from chasing it down and just letting it go out of bounds. That pass was from number 22, Eleanor Bergstein. Jeter getting ready for the goal kick now. Jeter, a line drive kick, goes off the foot of a teammate, chased down by Graves, and that was Gonzalez trying to force things there, but ultimately it stayed with Natick, but almost lost out of bounds, and ultimately stolen away by Gonzalez from Mila, but it went right back to Natick. Now another scrum for the ball. Kick towards midfield, and it's taken by Moriarty. Frankel trying to cut her off and kick it away. Bit of a scrum for the ball. Deflected out of bounds, and they're going to say off Brookline. A throw in now for Michaela Henderson. Off the head. Swooping in to kick it away is Maddie Moore. She's been busy here in the first half on the defensive end. We got a substitution for Natick. Coming in is number 8, Emma Tavila. Throw in from Natick. Deflected off the head. Off another head. Dangerous in the box, but booted out by one of the Brookline backs. Frankel deflects it, or no, my mistake. Gonzalez deflects it off a foot, and now it's taken by Pentland. My mistake again, that was Frankel, but Pentland kicks it into space. Nobody there, and it rolls harmlessly into the arms of Jeter. Jeter looking around, dribbling like a basketball player. Here's the punt towards midfield. Off the head of Leshley. Taken for a second by Beigel. Now a couple of foot taps, it goes to Grady. And now along the far side, Natick's got control here. Pass sent through, deflected, and ultimately taken away. I believe that's Zoe Fagnan along the far end. The kick into space goes to Moriarty. Moriarty kicks it all the way back to Keo White. White sends it over to Tavila. And then a pass stolen away by Leshley and then taken by Gonzalez. That was going for Briar Grady. Gonzalez dribbling, being pursued by Grady. Forced to send a bad pass, deflected away by Natick. And now we got a collision on the loose ball. Zoe Fagnan bumped into Natick's number 18, Eliza Campana. The throw in for Brookline after the ball is lost out of bounds. They're trying to maintain control of it. Back to Fagnan and now over to Leshley. Hope Leshley dribbling with it, sends it across the way over to Maddie Moore. Moore dribbling with it, sends a pass back and ultimately booted into space. Goes off the head of I think, Hacker. And then downed by Grady, passed back to Hacker. Pass over to Moriarty, now sent over to the far side to Beigel. Beigel passes it along the far side. Dribbling around a defender and working her way down the far sideline for Natick. And I think that was Campana, passed over to Grady, back to Beigel, into space, and lost out of bounds. Beigel's kick just off the mark there, and that's going to be a goal kick for Brookline. And we've got a timeout called. All right, we've got a timeout with 20 minutes and 31 seconds left here in the first half, and we've got a correction for a pronunciation on the Brookline side, and I'm definitely glad to get this one. Number 10, the sophomore forward and the leading point scorer for Brookline so far this season is pronounced Amara Ukamadu. So I had that wrong, had a bit of a typo with an N that wasn't there, and I had, as they say, the emphasis on the wrong syllable. So very grateful to the very kind person in the stands who corrected me on that after the timeout was called. And anyone else who happens to be watching, if I'm getting anyone else wrong, again, I encourage you, please let me know in the live chat. These are two squads of very talented young ladies, and I want to give them the best coverage I possibly can. 20 minutes and 31 seconds on the clock here in the first half. We are scoreless here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. The hosting Natick Redhawks 0, the visiting Brookline Warriors 0, though not for a lack of chances on both sides, really. And it's kind of interesting to observe the different ways that these two teams have gotten their chances. Natick's chances have mostly come from sending the ball into a very crowded box and aiming for a favorable deflection, whereas for Brookline, they tend to hang their players back and just send their forwards screaming after the ball whenever they see an opportunity to try and steal it away and go for a fast break. So two very different styles of play, kind of interesting to observe. Natick liking to go for more set plays, which makes sense when you've got a player like Briar Grady who can weave through defenders the way she can and really progress that ball down the field so that you can get more of your players on that end and set up those potential kicks into a crowded box. Whereas for Brookline, they've got some very talented, very speedy, and very savvy forwards in Amara Ukamadu and Gianna Pentland, who are able to just kind of swoop in and try and just go for broke. So after the timeout, it's going to be a goal kick for Brookline keeper Juliana Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots one into the air towards midfield, goes off the head of a Natick player, but right to the foot of Gianna Pentland. Pentland downs it, passes back to Frankel. Frankel dribbling around, sends a pass along the far side. I believe that's Fagnan who now has the ball. Dribbling with it, sends a pass ahead again for Pentland. She downs it and passes it back to Hope Leshley. Leshley boots one into the air, looking for Sarah Gonzalez along the wing. Gonzalez couldn't quite get a handle on it. It's taken by Tavila for Natick, but ultimately she couldn't control it, and it's lost out of bounds. Sorry, my view is a little cut off here. Going to try and just lean in for a second as Gonzalez throws it in for Pentland. Pentland kicks it, deflected back by Pentland. Ukamadu has it for a second, but ultimately too much traffic. Kicked over to Grady. Grady kicks it, downed by Frankel. Frankel tries to kick one. It's deflected off the head. Tracked down by a Brookline player. Dangerous chance here. The kick. Oh, just wide. What a dangerous chance there. A big chance from the far end. And I think that chance came from Eleanor Bergstein, number 22. And they're going to say that was out of bounds off Natick, so we're going to get our first corner kick of the day. So I'm going to have to hold my camera out of the press box for a bit so we can see the corner kick. Excuse the shakiness as Brookline lines up for the corner kick. Booted towards the box, off the head of a Natick player, and it's going to go down and out of bounds on the far side. So that'll stay with Brookline. They get the throw in, wasting no time here. Bit of a collision. Loose ball is kicked and taken, I think, by Bergstein, and then ultimately kicked out by Beigel. Another throw in for Brookline. And lost out of bounds. I think that went off the foot of Ukamadu. That might have actually been an illegal throw-in call against Brookline, which is why the ball is now with Natick. Moriarty dribbling with it. Sends a retreating pass back to Hacker. Hacker sends it along the far side over to Beigel. Beigel taps it ahead for Briar Grady. Grady sends a pass to the far side, intercepted by Brookline, but lost control of it. Taken away by Natick. Big kick, chased down and tapped down by Anastopoulos. That was a big chance, I believe, for Megan Mila on that kick there. And now a big kick bounces into the Natick end. And after a kick away, it's chased down by Hope Leshley. Leshley sends a long pass, screaming past her back line players, and it goes all the way to Anastopoulos, who kicks it towards midfield, goes off the foot of Ukamadou, taken by Hacker, passed along the far side, but taken away quickly by Sari Frankel. Frankel sends a pass ahead, taken by Hacker, who passes it away quick to Grady. Grady now dribbling with it. Got some space to work and survey the field. She sends a pass along the near side to White, back to Hacker, now aimed back at Jeter. Jeter passes it back to White. White sends a pass, cut off by Gonzalez, and then taken by Pentland. A big kick goes wide. Again, you can see the strategy that Brookline goes for with their offense. They tend to hang a lot of their players back and just go for more of an opportunistic approach. Just over 16 minutes left here in the first half, and we are still scoreless here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. Allison Jeter, the goal kick towards the near side. Bit of a battle for it. Gianna Pentland trying to take control, is pushed to the ground by White and draws the penalty. It's going to be a free kick for Brookline. Big chance here. Kick is going to be taken by the center back, Cecilia Wager. Here comes the kick. Wager launches it towards the net and caught easily by Jeter. Jeter boots it into the air towards midfield, aiming for Campana, but it's headed away by Fagnan. Brookline trying to get it towards the Natick end, but a bit of a scrum for the ball, and an absolute tangle up there between Frankel and Beigel. That's going to be called on Frankel and be a free kick for the Red Hawks. And now the Red Hawks starting to stack the box as they get ready for this free kick. Big kick from Hacker. Deflected off the head slightly of Graves, Zoe Graves, but it goes right into the arms of Anastopoulos, who boots it. It's deflected by Ukamadou, and oh no, they're going to say that's out off. Yeah, that is out off Ukamadou. Bergstein was trying to chase that one down, but nothing doing. 14.5 minutes left in the half. The throw-in goes to Moriarty. She's got some space to work. Ukamadou swoops in to knock it out of bounds. And, oh, they're going to say that went out off Natick. So Amara Ukamadou, again, just comes in like a bullet out of nowhere like she does and gets her team the ball. Throw-in is passed back, now sent through, aiming for Ukamadou, but misses the mark. Taken by the Natick defense. Kicked ahead, aimed for Mila, but deflected back to the Brookline defense. Goes off the head of Grady and cut off by, I believe, Zoe Fagnan. Tapped back to Brookline's number 19, Sydney Freeze. Kicked ahead and goes out of bounds. Natick will take over. Throw in there is taken away quickly by Brookline. Passed ahead for Ukamadou. Ukamadou hesitates, gets some time. Looking for a chance, passed over Leshley. Leshley sends one over to Gonzalez, but misses the mark. Just a bit off the mark there. Gonzalez had some space to work, but pass was off target. The throw in here goes into a bit of a scrum, but ultimately taken safely by Mila. Pass back to Hacker. Hacker sends it ahead for Moriarty. Moriarty dribbling with it, just under 13 minutes until halftime. Pass over to Grady. Grady fakes out her defender, gets some space, sends a pass ahead, deflects off a couple feet, ultimately booted away, I believe, by Freeze. Goes off the head and taken again by Grady, who passes it over to Moriarty. Moriarty sends a pass in. Brookline player swoops in, makes it a bit tough, ultimately taken away by Hope Leshley, kicked back to Sydney Freeze, and then sent along the far end to Zoe Fagnan. Fagnan kicks it down the line, goes off the head of Moriarty and out of bounds. Another throw in down the far end aimed at Bergstein. Stolen away by Natick. Kicked ahead for Campana, who loses it out of bounds. We got a one substitution for Natick and a mass of substitutions for Brookline. Coming in will be numbers 7, 27, 20, and 18. Mila Seifert, Alex Levy, Liv Ernst, and number 18, Anna Leshley. Throw in for Brookline. This one is aimed at Anna Leshley, the new substitution. She manages to get the ball away to a teammate. A through pass sent ahead to Pentland. Pentland's got it. Tries to send it ahead, but loses it to Natick. Natick kicks it way out into space, and that's going to roll all the way back to Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos scoops it up. Rolled into the backs, passed ahead off the foot of Levy and out of bounds. That's going to be Natick ball. Throw in down the far side. Kicked ahead, trying to set things up for Campana. Boxed out and scooped up by Anastopoulos. Booted into the air. It's downed well by Beigel. Beigel taps it over to Grady. Grady dribbling with it. Has to move back, send it back to Hacker. Hacker sends it along the far side to Beigel, towards the middle to Moriarty. Moriarty, pressured by Leshley, has to pass it back to Hacker. Now sent ahead for Grady. Grady dribbling against Leshley and faking Leshley out of her shoes. Briar Grady again showing off those moves she has in the transition game, but ultimately no one to pass to, and it's booted away by Maddie Moore. Battle for the ball, ultimately deflected by Natick, and they're going to call the penalty on Gianna Pentland. Just got a little too physical pursuing things against number 22, Kendall Hacker. And it'll be Kira Hacker taking the free kick after Kendall Hacker drew the penalty. Just under 10 minutes left here in the half. Still scoreless. Hacker boots it across, goes off the face of Moore, taken by Leshley, kicked ahead for Pentland, stolen away, but stolen right to Anna Leshley, kicked into the air, and it's deflected out of bounds off the head of Kira Hacker. Maddie Moore will be taking the throw in for Brookline, sends it towards the middle, deflected right back to Moore, sends a pass aimed for Pentland but off the mark. Hacker kicks it away, and it goes back to Cecilia Wager. Wager, dribbling with it, kicks it ahead, off a foot, taken by Zoe Graves. Graves sends it along the far side, and a pass sent through, but offsides. That timing has to be so precise when you're past the defenders, especially if the defenders are savvy and know to pull back to give you that offsides call. Eight and a half minutes now, and after the offsides call, it'll be a free kick for Brookline. It'll be taken by Wager. Wager boots it into the air, goes off the head, and out of bounds. It'll be Brookline ball. Throw in now, goes off the head of a Natick player, and right to the foot of another defender, taken by Hope Leshley in space. Leshley dribbling with it, sends a pass down the far side, and it's lost out of bounds. This will be a throw in for Natick. Throw in goes back to Hacker. Passed ahead, working along the far side, but ultimately lost control of it out of bounds. That was Tavila who had the ball. Thrown in to Levy, who taps it back, now tapped back to Levy. Alex Levy tries to send one through to Anna Leshley, who passes out of traffic to Pentland. Pentland now trying to get through traffic. It's taken away. Levy kicks it back downfield, but ultimately out of bounds. Throw in for Natick. Off the head of Tavila. And ultimately tapped away back to Fagnan. Sends the pass back to Wager. Wager sends a pass, deflects a bit off of a Natick player and taken by Moore. Passed ahead for Seifert. Mila Seifert dribbling. Gets around one defender. She's trying to work the edge. Pass is deflected away by Kendall Hacker. Ultimately lost out of bounds, but good effort by the freshman defender for Natick. Going to be a throw in down the far line for Pentland, who kicks it out of bounds off of Hacker. And I think a bit of confusion over whether that's a goal kick or a corner kick. And indeed, it's a corner kick, is what the call is. So Brookline will have their second corner kick of the half, and overall the only 2 corner kicks of the half so far. Kicked into the air towards the box, off the head of a Brookline player, into some open space. Brookline keeping control of it, centering kick. Oh, what a dangerous chance, but they couldn't make it happen. Tracked down by Fagnan, dribbling around one player, sending it towards the box again. Dangerous chance, wind up, shot high. That was good for 3 points in American football, but not here. That was a huge chance for Brookline that just went over the net after a few kicks just couldn't find the foot of anyone in a white jersey. Jeter now with the goal kick. It's deflected out of bounds, and it's going to go back to Brookline. Moore with the throw-in. It's downed by Pentland, trying to fight her way through, taken away by Hacker into open space, and the battle is won by Graves. Graves sends the pass ahead for Tavila. Tavila dribbling, passes ahead for number 4, stolen away, taken by Seifert, but ultimately kicked out of bounds. The throw-in is cut off by Moore, kicked away, but right to Graves. Graves dribbling with it, running out of space, manages to somehow get it back to Briar Grady, who now sends a pass in retreat to Beigel. Beigel kicks it along the far side. Now a pass goes back to Kira Hacker. Hacker passes for Grady, but misses the mark, and it's stolen away by Hope Leshley, who managed to keep track of the ball, passes it back to Sydney Freeze. Freeze sends it along the far side to Fagnan. Fagnan dribbling with it, centering kick for Leshley. Leshley kicks it back to Freeze. Freeze passes along the near side to Moore. Moore dribbling, boots it right off of a Natick player, and I think that's Tavila who forced the turnover there. Good work by Emma Tavila. Tavila throws it in. Deflected to a wrong spot, taken by Pentland. Pentland passes it back to Moore. Moore dribbling towards the middle, sends a pass towards the middle to Alex Levy. Levy dribbling with it, runs out of room fast and sends a pass back to Wager. Wager kicks it to Leshley. Leshley being pursued by Grady, but it goes back to Levy, who kicks it into space. Cut off for a second by Leshley, but it's deflected right to Tavila, who taps it back to Jeter. Little over 3 minutes left in the half. Natick 0, Brookline 0. As Natick resets with the ball. Jeter just taps it over to Kira Hacker. Hacker sends a kick into space. And then the attempted pass is deflected away by Mila Seifert. That pass was intended for Emma Tavila. Off the foot of Moriarty. Throw in is going to be taken by Michaela Henderson. Throws it into the air, deflects off of the head of Moriarty. It goes past Wager and over to Anastopoulos. Punt towards midfield. And a bit of a scrum for it. Ultimately tracked down by Pentland. Pentland taps it over to Seifert. Seifert's got some space to work, but runs out of it fast. Loses track of the ball, and it's kicked out of bounds by a Natick defender. Moore, a quick throw in. Downed quickly by Leshley, but again, Natick swoops in and kicks it out of bounds. Good work by Briar Grady. That Grady-Leshley matchup in the middle of the field has been one of the more electric matchups here late in the first half ever since Hope Leshley checked in. Moore throws it in, goes off the head, goes to Grant, and then booted into the air. Off the foot of Freeze, now off the foot of Grady, and now off the foot of Graves, off the head of Wager, and then kicked away by a Brookline player. Chased down along the far side, passed back to Hacker. Hacker kicks it ahead, misses Grady, deflected by Seifert, but then chased down by Campana. Sends a pass for Henderson down the far side. Henderson manages to keep it in bounds, but only for a moment. And actually, she didn't even keep it in bounds for a moment. It's lost out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for Brookline. We're officially in stoppage time now. The clock frozen at 2 minutes. Throw in. Couple kicks. It goes off the foot of Pentland. Leshley and Grady battling for it once again. This time Leshley takes it. Sends a kick all the way back to Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos dribbling with it for a bit. Finally gets pressured and passes it out to Fagnan on the far side. Fagnan gets around one player. Passes it to Levy in the middle. Passed back to Wager. Wager taps it over to Fagnan. Fagnan kicks it ahead. Send it through off the foot of Anna Leshley. And now a couple taps over to Hope Leshley and then back to Freeze. Over to Moore. Moore dribbling. Sends a pass to the middle to Levy. Tapped for Leshley. Leshley barely keeps control of it. Sends it back to Moore. Moore dribbling. Got some space. Boots it ahead. This is a chance. Anna Leshley chasing down the ball. Brookline starting to get on the attack. She runs out of room. The kick is deflected into open space. Chased down by Moriarty and kicked out of bounds. They're going to say that went out of bounds off of Brookline. Quick throw in for Tavila. Sent back, and now I believe that is Graves working with the ball. Pass intercepted by Hope Leshley, but Grady again battling for it. Natick takes it back, and now it's Anna Leshley battling for it. Taps it back for Hope, who kicks, deflected by Moriarty, back to Hope, and then a pass over to Pentland, back and forth, and that's going to be halftime. We are halfway through this high school girls soccer contest between the Brookline High Warriors and the Natick High Redhawks. We are scoreless halfway through this one, 0-0. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan, happy to bring you live coverage of this high school girls soccer contest. If you're enjoying the contest, be sure to hit that like button. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to subscribe. Feel free to engage in the live chat or the comment section if you're watching this after the fact. You can follow me on social media. Links to my Facebook and Instagram accounts are in the description of this video below, as is my email address if you would like to request coverage of your favorite team's game in the future. But for right now, we are at the half. Natick 0, Brookline 0. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I'll be putting my mic on mute for this halftime break, but I will be back once we return to the action, so be sure to stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. My name is Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. I am bringing you live coverage of this high school girls soccer matchup between the visiting Brookline High Warriors and the hosting Natick High Redhawks. We are scoreless through the first half. They're not for lack of chances. Both teams had their chances, and Brookline probably had some of the scarier ones. But it can't be understated how well Natick was doing in the transition game as well. So it will be interesting to see what we get this time around here in the second half. They'll be switching sides. Natick playing in the red jerseys with white jersey numbers will now be on my right after being on my left in the first half. And for Brookline in the white jerseys with those weird outline jersey numbers that have like the blue lines but no filling, they're going to be on the left side. Again, the goalie matchups for Brookline: number 0, Juliana Anastopoulos; for Natick, number 1, Allison Jeter. For Brookline, they have number 8, Sari Frankel, and number 10, Amara Ukamadu in the center, ready to get this one underway. Here we go. It's kicked back, and we're underway. Pass goes back to Cecilia Wager. Now passed over to the middle to Hope Leshley. Passed back to Zoe Fagnan. Fagnan trying to find some space. Runs out of it and passes it back to Wager. Wager dribbling with it. Passes it along to Fagnan. Fagnan, again being pressured, kicks it into space and finds Frankel. Frankel now working in the transition. Floats a pass ahead, looking for Eleanor Bergstein. Can she keep it in bounds? No, she cannot. Brookline was looking to get things moving along the near side, but ran out of room. The throw-in bounces past a couple players, almost off a hand, but ultimately ripped away by Brookline. Good effort there by number 1, Vilena Chernichev, who's seeing the field for the first time. Now waiting for the throw-in for Brookline. Trying to kick it into the box now. Kick deflected back. Taken by Briar Grady. Now they try and work in transition, but it's stolen away by Brookline. The centering kick is deflected, but ultimately won by Brookline's Hope Leshley. Passed over to Sari Frankel. Frankel now dribbling with it. A big kick, and it skips right into the arms of Allison Jeter. Again, there have been some dangerous chances on both sides, but no real chance for a big highlight-worthy save so far, as a lot of times when the kick does go towards the net, it's relatively harmless. Scrum for the ball now, and it's won by Zoe Graves. Passed back, and now dribbling with it, kicked away by, I believe, Fagnan, and it goes to Frankel. Frankel taps it along the far side for Bergstein, who tries to kick it ahead, cut off by Kira Hacker, sent over to Michaela Henderson, ahead, looking and finding Eliza Campana, who wrestles her way around Fagnan, dribbling, surrounded on all sides, and ultimately taken away by Hope Leshley. Leshley passes it back. It gets past Sydney Freeze, but is taken by Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots it into the air, goes off the head of Briar Grady, now off the head of, I believe, Chernichev, and then booted into the air by Leshley. Ukamadu chasing it down, and ultimately deflected out of bounds by Kira Hacker. Throw in for Bergstein is deflected back to Bergstein. Bergstein fights her way through a couple defenders, launches a kick that bounces into the arms of Jeter. Allison Jeter taking her time, adjusting her socks for a second there. And now punted into the air. Past midfield, favorable bounce, but goes off the foot of Wager. Over to Chernichev, and Leshley kicks it off a player's face, and it deflects back to Wager, faking out her defender and ultimately passing it back to Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots it into the air over to Ukamadou. Ukamadou can't win the ball, though. It's taken away by Beigel. Beigel kicks it ahead, but cut off and kicked away. Goes off the head of Hacker, kicked by Moriarty, stopped by Freeze, but then it goes to Briar Grady. She's been dangerous in the transition all game long. That deflection goes now to Moriarty and kicked out of bounds, pass intended for Emma Tavila. Throw in now goes to Ukamadou. Deflected away, but still taken by Brookline, passed all the way back to Wager, now pass to Leshley, over to Fagnan, and misses the mark, and that's going to be a turnover in Brookline's own end. A chance to attack now for Natick. Henderson throwing it in, goes off the head of Campana, and now off the head, and we got a penalty called against Natick, as it was almost sort of an over the back by number 5, Emma Grant. We're less than 5 minutes in, and already we're getting some great action here in the second half. Cecilia Wager getting ready to take the free kick. Boots it across midfield, bounces over some heads, tracked down by Hacker, and passed along the far side to Tavila. Tavila kicks it down the far sideline, aiming for, I believe, Graves. Lost out of bounds off the pressure from Brookline's defense from Cecilia Wager. Ball will stay with Natick. Given to Moriarty. Moriarty lost control for a second, but gets it back to Tavila. Kicked into space, and Freeze has an easy, almost free kick there, but it's taken by Hacker. Hacker trying to dribble her way through, and then taken away by Brookline. Brookline working in transition. The big kick from Frankel is deflected up into the air, but then taken by Ukamadou. Ukamadou trying to dribble her way through. She gets a sliding tackle from Hacker that draws a penalty. Big chance for Brookline now as Wager, the center back, comes up to take the free kick for the Warriors. Dangerous chance here for Brookline. Wager backpedaling way back to wind up for this kick. No question where she's sending this. This one's heading right into the box. Boots it into the air towards the box, and nothing doing there. The potential for an offsides was too great. No one could cut that one off. And it'll simply be a goal kick for Natick as they now have a substitution. This is number 25, Olivia Penn, seeing the pitch for the first time in this contest. Jeter kicks it into the air, over some heads, taken for a second by Brookline, but then lost and booted out of bounds by Natick. Maddie Moore with the throw-in, goes off the head, off the foot of Moore, and into the air down the far side and lost out of bounds. That's going to be Natick ball. Throw in now. Dribbling with it now, I believe, is Grady, who has to send a pass back due to the pressure. They keep sending it back to Jeter. Jeter kicks it over for number 24, Caitlin LeBrun. LeBrun sends it towards the middle for Penn. Olivia Penn with it, passes it over to the far side. Passed back to Penn. Penn dribbling towards the middle. Sends a pass back to Hacker. Now a pass along the near side. Finds LeBron, who taps it over to Tavila. Tavila has her pocket picked by the other number 8, Sari Frankel. Frankel kicks it ahead and deflected out of bounds by Hacker. That matchup of number 10s, Amara Ukamadou and Kira Hacker, is turning into an interesting matchup here in the second half. Brookline now with the ball, trying to work it. Frankel manages to kick it ahead, but into a bit of a scrum, and I think they called a penalty or out of bounds on Brookline. Throw-in goes off the head of Bergstein, taken by Campana, and kicked back to one of the middies. Now dribbling with it. It's taken away by Brookline for a second, but then lost. That's Briar Grady who kicks it back to LeBron, into the air, off the foot of Chernychev, then deflected off the foot of a Natick player. Natick taking over. This is Campana dribbling with it. Can't get cleanly through Wager, and it's cut off by Chernychev. Booted into the air by Freeze. Now Freeze kicks it again to clear it out. Goes back to Grady. Grady, a pass over for Penn. Penn sends it along the far side, but juggled and lost out of bounds. A throw in now for Brookline. Thrown in down the far side. Cut off by a couple of Natick players, but it goes off the hand. Brookline will get the free kick. 31 minutes left here in regulation. Still scoreless. A free kick for Brookline. This will be taken by Brookline's designated free kicker, Cecilia Wager. Well, not designated, but that's who they go to. The kick was dangerous for a second, but bounces into the arms of Jeter. If Chernychev could have gotten a foot on that there, who knows how that might have deflected. The long kick ultimately goes off the head of Fagnan. Bergstein boots it into the air. It's kicked away by Hacker. Deflected back by Moore. By Fagnan, excuse me. A couple more deflections taken by Grady and passed over to the far side. Pass ahead is deflected and then stolen away now by Moore. Kicked ahead, off the foot of Frankel, being chased by Ukamadou. Ukamadou running out of room along the far side, and she sends a retreating pass. And then it's stolen away by Natick. It got taken away from Maddie Moore. Now dribbling with some space. Moore comes in from behind, kicks the ball away, but not without committing a foul on Olivia Penn. It's going to be a free kick from Natick's Kira Hacker. And she's just going to do a slow rolling pass over to Grady. Grady dribbling with it. Has to pass it away to the far side. A kick is deflected. And that one went right into the gut. And that one might have knocked the wind out of this Brookline player who is holding her hands over her head to get her oxygen back. She's standing okay. She's just holding her hands over her head to try and, get her breath back after that one. That was a liner straight into the stomach. But she seems okay. Throw in now for Natick. Almost favorable deflection, but ultimately nobody there to receive it. Got a couple subs for Brookline now. Number 20, Liv Ernst, comes in, as well as number 7, Mila Seifert. They will be replacing Eleanor Bergstein, as well as number 6, Sarah Gonzalez, who I think is the one that took that in the stomach. So the free kick bounces, gets deflected, lost out of bounds, off the foot of a Natick back. Throw in for Brookline. And the rain that we started this game with had subsided, but now it's come back. As this one is deflected out of bounds by Natick. A quick throw in again is again quickly deflected out of bounds. We're just moving chunks further and further down the field off of these deflections. But this one, a very favorable deflection for Natick, as it goes right to one of their teammates. Pass back, a pass ahead for Grant. Grant sends it to Tavila along the near side. But Tavila gets manned up by Zoe Fagnan and ball gets lost out of bounds. Tavila now throwing it in. Goes off the foot and then off the chest of a Natick player and lost out of bounds. Good deflection by Liv Ernst. Throw in now for Brookline. Fagnan sends it in. And a little physical on the deflection, but ultimately Ernst gets a foot on it and kicks it ahead. Kicked back by Hacker over to Tavila, now sent back to LeBrun. LeBrun sends it back past Hacker. Ukamadou is trying to swoop in, but Jeter ultimately kicks it away. Now Natick trying to work along the far end, and they run out of space, and that's going to be lost out of bounds. A throw in for Brookline. Throw in goes to Hope Leshley. Leshley dribbling with it, sends a pass ahead, finds Frankel. Frankel boots one towards the box, but ultimately wide, and Jeter had it tracked the whole way. Allison Jeter lining up for the goal kick. About 26.5 minutes left here in the second half. This one's a bit of a liner, taken by Henderson. Pressure from Ernst. Ernst kicks it away, but it goes back to Hacker. Hacker boots it in the air, finds Campana. Campana sends a pass back, finds a teammate. I believe this is Briar Grady, bringing the speed and the transition. Tries to send a pass ahead for Henderson. Fagnan's tracking it down, just trying to box her out. And a kick by Henderson goes off the foot of Fagnan. That's going to set up Natick's first corner kick of the night. Looks like they're going to use Kira Hacker to boot this one towards the box. I'm just going to keep the camera on the box here so I don't have to give you guys the unsteady camera in my hand. And they're doing it over. Here we go. Kick into the box. Goes off the head of a Natick player and bounces away, and that's going to go out of bounds. So first corner chance for Natick ends as fruitfully as Brookline's 2 corner chances from the first half. No score. And we still got a pair of goose eggs on the scoreboard here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts. Ball being kicked back and forth, and it goes to Beigel. Beigel's attempted clear is deflected by Ukamadou. Ukamadou's deflection ultimately goes back to Natick, and it's kicked ahead for Grady. Grady gets swarmed, and the ball gets kicked away. Lost out of bounds, Brookline ball. Couple deflections. It goes downfield, being chased down by LeBron, but a couple players coming in to make it tough. Pressure being applied, and can she get it away? She manages to tap it away for Henderson. Henderson trying to recenter it. Her kick is deflected out of bounds. Good pressure applied by Liv Ernst. And now cutting off Fagnan is Campana. Campana trying to dribble through, but Hope Leshley swoops in and takes that one away. Leshley passes it back to Wager. Wager sends it over to Fagnan. Fagnan dribbling with Grady applying pressure, or maybe that's actually Campana. Now Anastopoulos boots it into the air, finds Frankel. Frankel dribbling against LeBrun. LeBrun sends it back, and now pass towards the middle for Grady, and Grady gets tripped up by Leshley, and that's going to be a foul call every time. Kira Hacker lining up for another free kick. Getting it in the right spot. Hacker boots it down the near side. Goes off the foot of Henderson. Dangerous centering kick. Freeze trying to kick it away. Gets it out. Rain's falling heavier and heavier as Natick couldn't quite make anything happen on that one. Sari Frankel kicks it downfield. It's a chase for it. Beigel's trying to get there first, but doesn't have to. It rolls out of bounds. It is now officially pouring here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts, and I am so glad to be in the press box. Not for my sake, mind you, but for the sake of my tech. I can't lose that. Throw-in goes off the head, and taken, I believe that's Zoe Graves. Pass ahead, finds a teammate who gets knocked down, but the play keeps going. This is Graves still dribbling with it. And it's sent back to Grady. A deflection goes back to Olivia Penn. Penn's got some space, passes it over to Grady. Grady tries to send one through, but nobody there, and this is going to be easily taken by Anastopoulos. Rain Schmain, these ladies will play on as the punt from Anastopoulos is taken by LeBrun. Passed back to Hacker. Hacker boots it across midfield, taken for a second by Graves, and then she gets shoved over, and Natick's just going to try and push the issue. Henderson has it. Attempted centering kick deflected and whiffed on by a couple players, ultimately chased down by Seifert and kicked out of bounds. Natick decided to bring the aggressive play on that free kick there to try and make something happen, but just couldn't. Throw in for Natick. Couple deflections, goes to Grady. Grady trying to dribble through, but runs out of room. And now we've got a ball in space. Ukamadu's cut everyone off. It's a breakaway. Amara Ukamadu tries to get it past. Saved by Jeter. That might have been the best chance anyone has had all game. You know what? Not might. Definitely. Biggest chance either side has had all game. Amara Ukamadu brought the speed to get a breakaway there. Allison Jeter decided to come out and be aggressive. And the laser kick from Ukamadu went right into the arms of Jeter. And for the second time, Ukamadu goes flying over Jeter at the end of that play as she gets tripped up. Now Natick has it back as the rain lightens up a little bit. Big swing of the foot by Campana. Sails wide. Somehow kept in bounds. Centering kick. Gets swarmed by the defense, and Seifert kicks it out of bounds. Natick getting ready for the throw in here. This will be Henderson throwing it in as the Red Hawks stack the box again. Throw in goes over a couple heads. Dangerous for a second there. Lost out of bounds. And it looks like they're going to call a corner kick. So second corner kick of the day for Natick. Just under 20 minutes left here in the second half. Big chance here for Natick. Kick into the box. It's high. Deflected. And then goes off a foot and out of the box. Brookline clears it. And a late call, but a handball call that went off the hand of Sari Frankel. So this will be a free kick in a dangerous spot for Natick. Second big free kick chance for them in a row. As they get ready to set things up here, Brookline trying to set up their defensive wall. Natick is 3 players bunched together around the ball. They send away Zoe Graves. Kira Hacker is there, and presumably she'll be taking the kick next to Briar Grady. Grady sends a kick right off the wall. Dangerous spot in the box. Sliding in is Anastopoulos, and she gets it away. That's going to be another corner kick for Natick after the sliding effort by Juliana Anastopoulos. Wait, they're not calling a corner. They're calling a goal kick. Wow. So Anastopoulos just kicks it over to one of her backs, who boots it into the air for Frankel. Frankel being pressured from behind. She manages to dribble around and send it down the near sideline. Ukamadu bringing the speed again, but it's Hacker taking it, and Hacker kicking it into space. Finds a teammate who taps it, but then cut off by Sydney Freeze. Kick is taken by Beigel. It's pouring again. Kick towards the middle finds Grady. Grady dribbling with it. Sends one down the near side to Henderson. Henderson keeping it along the near side, passes ahead. That pass was to Campana, lost out of bounds, stays with Natick. Henderson throws it in, deflected. Goes back and kicked by Henderson. Deflection again, battle for the ball, booted away. I believe that was Maddie Moore who got the foot on it. Headed by Hacker, but then taken by Frankel. A bit of a battle for the ball. Natick wanted the handball off Frankel again. but instead it's an out-of-bounds call, and we're going to see which way it's going. Natick thinks they've got the ball. And now we've got a meeting of the officials to try and figure out which way this ball is going. Briar Grady was trying to say it's their ball, but no, they're going to say Brookline ball. And a big, massive substitutions for Brookline. They're going to bring in Gianna Pentland, Anna Leshley, Eleanor Bergstein, and Velena Chernychev. Bergstein throws it in for Pentland, and I think they weren't quite ready. The referees were still counting the players to make sure that they have 11 on the field. So now the count's done. Now Bergstein throws it in. Aiming for Pentland. Pentland passes it back for Leshley. Leshley loses control. It's taken away by Zoe Graves. Graves pushed from behind by Leshley. Again, that's going to be a foul call every time. Oh, and I think this is going to be a card on Leshley. Either that or a discussion. We'll see. So it looks like no card and just a warning to Hope Leshley. Free kick from Hacker. Goes down the line looking for Grady. Grady running out of room. Gets cut off by a couple of defenders. And now a physical wrap-up between Grady and Fagnan. And that ball is lost out of bounds. And it looks like it will be a penalty call against Grady. Both teams not afraid to get physical. And a line drive kick. It's deflected by Leshley, but goes into a scrum of players. And ultimately winning it is Beigel. A pass ahead, deflected back to Henderson. Sent ahead, looking for, I believe, Campana. Lost out of bounds. And they're going to say Brookline ball. Bergstein the throw-in. Finds Pentland, who can't keep control of it. Henderson kicks it away. Cut off by Maddie Moore. Sent into space. Beigel chasing after it. With player coming up behind her. I didn't quite see who, but it's kicked out of bounds by Beigel. That was good pressure being applied along the far side. The ball slipped out of her hands on the throw-in, but they managed to keep control of it. Maddie Moore is trying to boot it towards the box. Slightly dangerous chance as it's chased down by Henderson. She's trying to box out and keep it out, but can't do it. Bergstein takes it away. Bergstein dribbling, tries to force it through, but kicked away by Kira Hacker. It goes back to Fagnan. Fagnan keeps control of it, taps it over to Leshley, back to Fagnan. Fagnan boots it towards the middle, goes off the head, dangerous deflection. LeBrun's trying to take it. Pentland's coming behind her. Pentland slipped, and it's kicked out of bounds by LeBrun. And I think they're saying corner kick. Indeed, this will be a corner kick for Brookline. Fagnan will be taking the free kick. Bergstein is on her left. Fagnan sends it towards the box. Off the head of a Natick player. Downed by a Brookline player, but then ultimately booted out by the Redhawks. Back into space, taken by Sarah Gonzalez. Passed over to Maddie Moore. Maddie Moore dribbling, sends a laser, scoops into Jeter's hands there. A one-hopper. Just over 14 minutes left here in the second half, and we've still got a scoreless tie. Into the air, it's deflected. Being chased after by Natick, and they can't quite keep it in bounds. This is going to be a throw-in for Brookline. Brookline has scored exactly one goal in every game so far, but right now Natick's got him blanked. And this is a big cutoff. Emma Grant dribbling with it along the far side, running out of room. Cecilia Wager boxing her out and forces the goal kick. Cecilia Wager, good fundamental defense there to cut off a good chance for Natick. Anastopoulos boots it into the air. Off the foot of Henderson, back to Wager. Wager kind of goes off the side of her foot and into the air and over Bergstein's head and out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Redhawks. Henderson throws it down the far side. A scrum for it, lost out of bounds, and they're going to say Brookline ball. Sorry you couldn't quite see that one. Kind of in my camera's blind spot there. Throw in for Brookline, scrummed for and kicked back out of bounds by Natick. That was Henderson applying the pressure on Hope Leshley. This throw in is again deflected out of bounds by Henderson. This time the throw is intended for Eleanor Bergstein. Another throw in from Fagnan. Goes off the head of Henderson again. This time bounces back to Wager. Wager has it stolen away. Eliza Campana with a big chance here and gets wrapped up. And that's going to be a free kick. That's going to be a penalty kick. That was inside the box. That is a big chance for Natick. Eliza Campana with the clutch effort there as she ripped it away from Cecilia Wager, giving her a good chance and forcing Wager to kind of wrap up with her to prevent the breakaway. Number 16, Briar Grady taking the free kick here. It's Grady versus Anastopoulos. This could decide the game. Just under 12 minutes left in regulation. Here we go. Hold your breath here, folks. There's the whistle. Here comes Grady. Shot, and it's in. Cold as ice is Briar Grady. Patiently ran up to the ball, waited for Anastopoulos to make a move, and kicked it right when Anastopoulos went left. 1-0 Natick. Briar Grady, the first player to score a goal on Brookline this season. 11:31 left in regulation, and Brookline now with some urgency. Leshley kicks it along the far side, finds Gonzalez. Gonzalez trying to work, being boxed out by Mila, and loses it out of bounds. This will be a throw-in for Natick. The throw-in goes off the foot of Olivia Penn. And now a deflection kicked away by Natick once again, back to Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots it into the air. Bergstein trying to keep it in bounds, but can't time it right, and that's going to be another throw-in for Natick. Natick just trying to maintain possession here. Or no, they're going to say that was deflected by a Natick player. So a throw-in is bounced back to Bergstein, who boots it into the air. Goes off the head of one of the defenders. And now dribbling through, sending a pass through is Grady ahead to Grant. Grant almost loses control, pass back to Henderson. Henderson's kick is cut off by Fagnan, but then Graves rips it away from her and kicks it towards the box, cut off by Anastopoulos. And she can't pick it up! This is a steal! This is going to be a score for Natick! Second goal of the game for the Redhawks. I believe that was number 18, Eliza Campana. Disaster for the Warriors as they were trying to show some urgency, get the ball moving faster, but Anastopoulos just couldn't get good control of it, and it was cut off by number 18, Eliza Campana, which left nothing between her and the net. We've got a timeout called now with 10:23 left in this ball game, and Brookline now in a deep 2-0 hole against Natick. Brookline allowed 0 goals through the first 6 games of this season. They have now allowed 2 in this game. So 2 goals now for Natick. 1 off the penalty kick by Briar Grady and 1 off the heads-up play by Eliza Campana. Campana, excuse me.
I have a teacher at the school on that who's which is, that's why it's confusing.
We got 10 minutes, 23 seconds for Brookline to try and get back in this. They've had some really good chances to score, but haven't buried on any of them. And hats off to Campana, because she was also the one who drew the penalty in the box that allowed Grady to score on the PK. So if the result stays the same here, Natick's record would improve to 3-0-2, while Brookline's would fall to 6-1-0. Brookline's certainly hoping to try and turn things around, but they have never scored more than 1 goal in a game this season. They've scored exactly 1 in each of their first 6 contests. And now they're looking not only to be scored on for the first time this season, but also they're looking to be blanked for the first time this season on the other side. Brookline now trying to get things going. They trail 2-0. A favorable deflection for a bit, headed on ahead, but it's tracked down by Hacker and kicked out of bounds. So Brookline trying to move the ball downfield, and they're trying to hurry. Urgency here as they now trail by 2 goals. Throw in to, I believe, Frankel weaving through. A big kick, but well wide of the net, and again, not enough juice on it to make a substantial threat on Jeter. Allison Jeter now getting ready, taking her time, setting up the goal kick. Smart play. They've got a clock to run out now as they've got a 2-goal lead. Jeter kicks it into space, a deflection, chased down by Fagnan. Fagnan dribbling with it against Emma Grant, pass through, is deflected away, goes back to Sydney Freeze. Taken away by Graves, and now Campana's gonna break away! Are you kidding me? Eliza Campana shot, just misses wide! Eliza Campana carrying this Natick offense on her back. Almost the team's 3rd goal there as it's just tapped to Wager. Wager kicks it into space, kicked back by Penn, kicked back by Freeze, and now taken for a second by Ukamadou, but ultimately ripped away by Briar Grady. Grady sends it ahead, finds Graves. Graves sends it down the near side looking for Grant, but cut off by Fagnan. Goes back to LeBrun. Towards the middle, now tapped over to Moriarty. Moriarty sends it ahead to nobody, and is going to be tracked down by Anastopoulos, who scoops it up, 8.5 minutes. Big punt here. Goes off the foot of Ukamadou, who manages to win the scrum, dribbling with it, trying to force her way through, kicked away by Grant, and that's going to fly out of bounds. Throw in for Brookline. Tough deflection. 2 of their own players losing control of it, but then they managed to regain it a couple of passes, and now a kick ahead is cut off, sent back to Fagnan. Fagnan passes it to Anna Leshley. Leshley dribbling with it, trying to send a pass through, but nobody there. Kicked away by the Natick defense. It rolls all the way back to Cecilia Wager. Wager sends it ahead for Frankel. Frankel looking for a spot, kicks one through. It bounces through everybody and into the arms of Jeter, who's just going to fall on it and take her time. 7.5 minutes left in regulation. Natick 2, Brookline 0. Jeter, into the air it goes. Taken by Freeze and kicked ahead to Ukamadou. Ukamadou has it taken away, but it goes to Fagnan. Fagnan loses it. And now Natick's got control of the ball. Campana attempted centering pass. Cut off, no whistle. Frankel tracks it down, but kicks it right to Emma Grant. Grant sends a retreating pass to LeBrun. LeBrun kicks it ahead, and it's cut off by Fagnan. Brookline again showing more the aggression of a team trailing by 2 scores. As Grant loses it out of bounds, Fagnan will throw it in. Throw in deflected off Leshley, taken by Ukamadou. Ukamadou trying to fight around, gets around one defender, gets around another. Centering kick, big kick there, but goes over the net. That was a big chance there for Brookline. off the foot of Vilena Chernychev. Amara Ukamadou again creating some offensive opportunities for Brookline, but again, they can't finish. 6 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. Jeter kicks it low. It deflects off the foot of Pentland and out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for Natick. Throw-in comes in. It's downed by Maddie Moore. Deflected from Chernychev to Frankel and back to Chernychev, but lost. Cut off. And then the kick ahead, it goes off the foot of Wager, taken by Moriarty, but then stolen away by Leshley. Anna Leshley breaking through, draws a penalty there, and Brookline's going to get a free kick. They're going to send some people into the box. They've got 5 minutes and 40 seconds and counting left as they line up for the free kick here. Wager getting ready to launch this one. Waiting for the signal. She gets it. Boots it towards the box and right into the arms of Allison Jeter. Catching that one like a fair catch on a punt. 5:15 and counting. Jeter punts it towards midfield. Out of bounds it goes. It'll be a throw-in for Brookline. Headed out of, no, inbounds, but then Moore boots it into the air. It's being chased. So the clock is frozen with 5 minutes left, so only the officials know how much time is left at this point. Natick 2, Brookline 0. Natick with a throw-in deep in their own end on the far side. Throw-in goes off ahead and out of bounds, taken by Brookline. Throw-in for Brookline towards the middle, goes off ahead of a Natick player. Downed by, I believe, Frankel. Big kick from Frankel, but right into the arms of Jeter once again. Jeter boots one into the air. Goes off the head the wrong way from Sydney Freeze, and this one might bounce out of bounds. Brookline wasn't ready for that one. Wager tracks it down and keeps it in. Sends a pass. That's Freeze, who sends it ahead, finds a midi. Deflected back to Frankel. Or no, that's Chernychev. Chernychev sends a pass all the way back to Anastopoulos. Anastopoulos boots it into the air towards midfield, taken by Ukamadou. Ukamadou looking for a place to go, trying to dribble, running out of space, heading towards the middle, forcing her way through, finally cut off by Kira Hacker, and on the loose ball it's taken by Brookline, a kick through, and now Ukamadou with a chance, deflected away by Moriarty. Ukamadou still fighting for it, still trying to get her way through, no penalty call, and it's kicked out of bounds by Natick. A big play by Cassidy Moriarty. And now it's taken away by Natick. Emma Grant taps it over, and it's booted across midfield and out of bounds. Brookline will be resetting on the possession from inside their own end. Throw-in goes to Chernychev, who downs it, kicks it back to Moore. Moore launches it for Ukamadou. Ukamadou can't get control of it, but Anna Leshley can. Passed back to Fagnan. Fagnan dribbles around one player, sends a pass through to Leshley. Leshley with some space to work, dribbles upfield, taken from behind, no call, and it's taken away by Natick. Graves kicks it over some heads, taken by Wager and goes to Fagnan. Fagnan dribbling with it, a centering kick for Maddie Moore. Moore dribbling against Penn, gets a pass ahead but misses Pentland, and it's kicked away by Moriarty, headed by Penn, and Olivia Penn's now got it. Penn boots it into the air, goes off the head of Wager. That goes off another head, downed by Briar Grady. Grady fighting with Moore for the ball, gets it away to Penn, and now Natick just trying to pass it around and kill some clock. Beigel with it and sends it all the way back to Jeter. Jeter boots it into the air, goes off the back of a Natick player, And now taken by Campana. Passed over to Henderson. Pass for Campana is kicked away by Freeze. Being chased down by Beigel. Beigel again kicks it back to Jeter. Jeter boots it into the air once again. Natick very smartly killing clock right now as they've got the 2-0 lead over the Warriors. The Warriors retake possession now, trying to pass it around. This is Maddie Moore, who boots it into the air, deflected off the head of a Natick defender. Taken for a second by Anna Leshley, trying to force her way through. It's kicked out of bounds by a Natick defender. That's going to be out of bounds. Brookline ball. Throw in for Fagnan. Fagnan throws it in, aiming for Leshley. Cut off by Grant. Leshley kicks it, deflected out. And Brookline is trying to argue for a corner, but I think it's going to be called a goal kick. So it's a goal kick, bounced last off a Brookline player. Or no, they're reversing the call. This is going to be a corner kick, but of course, all of this eats up some clock, all this confusion. And of course, only the officials know, and it's a centering kick attempted for the header. Nothing doing. A recovery kick sails over the net, and that might have been Brookline's best last chance. We're still in stoppage time now as the clock froze with 5 minutes left. Jeter with the kick. Taken by Brookline immediately. A laser kick bounces off of the face of Cassidy Moriarty. Tracked down by Brookline. A kick deflected out of bounds. It will stay with Brookline, but they are running out of time here, and they're down by 2 scores. Throw in here. Deflected, taken by Frankel for a second. Runs into traffic. Lost out of bounds, and this will go to Natick. Throw in now is deflected out of bounds, and I think that will stay with Natick. And there's our final whistle. The final score, the Natick Redhawks 2, the Brookline Warriors 0. The Redhawks remain undefeated with a 3-0-2 record, while Brookline suffers its first loss of the season and falls to 6-1-0. Certainly a tough loss for the Warriors, a lot of firsts. Their first goal allowed, their first multi-goal allowed, and their first time not scoring. So the Warriors' undefeated streak comes to an end. All scoring came from Natick in the second half, and all of it had something to do with their junior forward, number 18, Eliza Campana. First, Campana managed to rip the ball away from the Brookline defender, Cecilia Wager, and draw a penalty as a result as she was pushing her way into the box. Since it was a penalty inside the box, it resulted in a penalty kick for the senior midfielder and co-captain, Briar Grady, who, cool as ice, took a simple, slow, careful shot to the right side after patiently walking up to the ball and getting Anastopoulos to jump early. That made it 1-0, and then a clumsy turnover by Brookline. Anastopoulos was trying to show some urgency and get down the ball and kick it quickly. I don't know, maybe she thought she couldn't grab it with her hands or something like that, and maybe she couldn't. Hard to say, but it was stolen away by Campana right in front of the net, and once she was past Anastopoulos, nobody was going to stop her, and that made it 2-0. There were plenty of great chances on Brookline's end. They just couldn't capitalize on any of them. In particular, some big chances from Amara Ukamadu, as she charged so aggressively that she actually ended up flying over the Natick goalie Allison Jeter twice. A big shutout effort for Jeter between the pipes for Natick. So wrapping things up here at Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts, I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. It's been a pleasure to bring you this high school girls soccer game. Again, if you've enjoyed the broadcast, be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all my upcoming broadcasts. Feel free to leave comments in the comments section. You can follow me on social media at Facebook and Instagram. Links are in the description. And you can send me an email if you would like to request a game be covered for your favorite team, or if you'd like to request that a highlight video package be made for either your favorite team or even your favorite player. You can see other videos on my channel for examples, and you can email me at the email address in the description below, jgms88@gmail.com. So for the last time from Memorial Field in Natick, Massachusetts, your final score, the Natick Redhawks 2, the Brookline Warriors 0. I am Jesse Mayfield-Sheehan. Thank you all for watching, and have a good night.